Welcome to the Midwest Game Nerds podcast. I'm your host, John, and here with me today are Brian and Alex.
Hello.
Today we've got some feedback, some game news, and Alex and Brian are going to tell you all about the Shadow of the Colossus on PS4 because I didn't buy it and I refuse to play it. But before we get to all that, if you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNerds.com/links. And as always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. We would really like more reviews and things so that we pop up higher in the iTunes charts. So be sure to leave reviews if you haven't already. Or if you want to revise your review and give us more stars and more glory, that would be awesome too. Anyways, Brian, what else have you been playing other than Shadow?
Well, it's been a long few weeks.
Yeah, we did have a couple. We had an extra week off. Apologize to our listeners for that.
I think shortly after we recorded last time, I was still into Prey, but I kind of gave up on that for a little while because I got irritated with a bug that I found that kept popping up and kind of impeding my progress.
I think that's the same bug you've kind of been talking about for a while. So
well, I've seen enemies get stuck in walls, but this was the first time that I got stuck in a wall.
Oh, interesting.
It kind of breaks things for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I still think it's a cool game, but it'd be nice if they could iron out shit like that since it's been out for over a year.
Yeah, well, it's on sale until does the sale end today or tomorrow? I think tomorrow.
I don't know.
The Steam one?
Yeah,
I think it ends tomorrow.
it's $20 right now on Steam. If anybody's listening, it's worth $20 at least, right?
Yeah, totally, for sure.
The Surge is also for sale on Steam and is totally worth the money.
Yeah, so I hear, but I have enough stuff to play.
Yeah.
I got back into playing Zelda pretty hardcore. Like I put in probably a dozen hours in one day.
So where are you at? How many shrines and how many divine beasts?
I still only have one divine beast. But I'm
What are you doing?
on the second one. Like I'm ready to go at it. The second one that I was going to tackle is the Death Mountain one, like Goron or whatever.
Okay, yep.
But I basically just tried to clear that entire side of the map, and then that's where I ended up. Like I went through,
In terms of shrines?
yeah.
Okay.
Shrines and
and towers.
I don't care about the stupid seeds.
Oh yeah.
It's like
no.
if one makes me want to, or if it asks me to fly my way down a mountain, way the fuck out of my way. Oops.
I think we've kind of given up.
Did we give up on that?
I think we've kind of given up on it. Yeah. Plus we don't need to Nico doesn't need anything more to laugh at us about.
Okay.
Swearing is back. On the
He's
Midwest Game Nerds
already
podcast.
laughs at us because we think Overwatch is terrible. Well, you don't think Overwatch is terrible.
Yeah,
we
I
think
don't.
Overwatch is terrible. But he wants to play it on PS4.
Nico can go
which you
back
don't.
and listen to the Overwatch episode to understand that I don't think it's terrible.
I don't really.
Definitely
Any
do.
game that I can pick up and get play of the game, the first round I play is a terrible game.
Yeah. Anyways, Zelda's cool still. I hope to actually finish that game someday.
Yeah. So
But I just don't really.
You should
I don't
pick up.
feel that obligated to finish it. I just like to go back and have my fun.
I think while you're in the thick of it, you should pick up the season pass, because I bought the season pass after I finished the game, and I don't think I'm ever going to touch any of it.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't need any more content.
Well,
That's
so
fair.
what was interesting, I listened to Split Screen, the episode where they had the two game directors on for Zelda, and one of the things I didn't realize but I found really interesting was the fact that they pointed out that all of the other champions have their divine beasts, and Link doesn't have one, and he's a champion, and that's what the motorcycle is that's his divine beast, which I thought was really cool, because
Pretty rad.
and that's like your prize for completing that DLC story arc is that
champion
you get your divine beast. I thought that's awesome. It makes me want to buy the season pass, but I probably won't because I'm in super ADD mode again with my video games.
It's funny. I've tried multiple times, and I start that game up, and as soon as I start running around and playing with it, I'm like, I can't do more of this.
Yeah, the thing
is, it's really weird. I don't know why.
I beat the game, but I don't remember exactly where I left off with everything else. I know I did 26.4% of the game.
Yeah.
And that was basically like, I was like, all right, cool. Don't know if I'm ever going to touch this again. But anytime I've tried to pick it up again, I look at it and I'm like, I should just start over. But I don't want to, like, because I know how far I've come. And, like, you know, I have the Master Sword and I have the Hyrule Shield.
I did find
and,
the
like,
Master Sword finally, but I can't get it yet.
You don't got enough hearts?
No, not even close. I had like 6 when I found it.
You're going to need some
I
more
like to
Korok seeds
invest
or whatever
in
the hell you
stamina
get.
for climbing, but yeah.
So, anyways. But yeah, you've basically just been kind of replaying a bunch of stuff that you've had, right? Have you played anything new?
Well, yeah,
other
I mean,
than
what we're
Shadow?
going to talk about. And then I guess that would be the only new thing.
All right. Alex, what about you?
I've played nothing.
Nothing? Just
Yeah,
Shadow?
I've had literally no time.
All right. Well, I've put about, I want to say 12 to 13 hours into the Surge, and I'm maybe like 1/10 of the way through it, like if that, because it's a Souls-esque game, so you're doing a lot of cycling back and like, you know, collecting souls. In this case, it's like scrap tech, and
Rolls off the tongue.
yeah, leveling up all my stuff. You know, I fucking love this game. It's so good. It's so good because, all right, it is a Souls game. It plays fast like Bloodborne does, but you don't have any projectiles. And I didn't realize, like, when you first start the game out, there's these flying drone things that attack you. You get one of those. I didn't realize that. And it's awesome. No spoiler. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to play the game now.
But you get one of those drones. And it's what kind of sucks is, like, you kind of have to have energy. Like, when you attack things, you build up energy to do, like, your super move, the finishing moves to, like, cut off limbs, or you can use certain other abilities, like a specific healing one that you need energy for, where it transfers your energy to life. But you also need energy to bring your drone out. So, like, you have to attack some shit to get enough energy to then deploy your drone. And then you can get, like, power-ups for your drone, which you then have to plug into your, like, inputs. And, like, they take up power off of your core unit. So, like, you have to strategize, like, which power-ups are you going to use for yourself? Like, are you going to have the ability to see enemies' life bars? Are you going to have the ability to buff your own life to have more max HP? Are you going to buff your energy levels? Are you going to have things that buff your stamina so that you don't run out of stamina so much faster than everything else? So, like, it's what you guys described, what you described in Nier Automata.
Yeah.
That, like, you have to strategize which of these things you're going to implement. On top of, like, you then have a drone, which you have to do that for as well, but it comes off of your power. The drone doesn't have its own power source, so, like,
Interesting.
it's so good, man. It's just so cool, and it's a lot of fun. And again, it's fast. I like the I've discovered new armor sets, which is cool because the base game starts you out with 2 different types of armor, but I then found out there's extra, like, different types of armor that you can get. When you have a full set of armor, you get a buff from that. Like, it's just it's cool, and it's hard as fuck. Like, it's stupid hard, but it's like, again, super rewarding, much like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, in that when you finally get through an area that you struggled with, you feel really accomplished. So
Did the DLC, like, just come out for that within the past couple months?
I don't recall. I'm not even to any of the DLC yet. I don't think I did buy the complete edition though.
Because I think they also announced that there will be a sequel.
Yes, they did just announce that. And one of the things they announced as part of the sequel announcement was that the enemy AI was going to be, like, kind of bumped up, and enemies would then be able to fight you on multiple levels of, like, for instance, right now there's certain drones that you'll run into that are like these like, I'm in the trash processing area of, like, the plant right now, and these certain drones are there to, like, break down, like, garbage, and they're like a tripod drone. They have 3, like, rolling wheel things, and they'll, like, zoom up to you. But, like, if you're on a stairwell, they can't attack you on the stairwell, and they don't have any kind of projectile that can get you. They do have an attack that can suck you into them, but again, if you're on the stairs, they won't use it.
That sucks.
So yeah, it does. But I've been able to, like, bring them to the stairs. They're really hard too. Like, I've been able to bring them to the stairs and then just attack them on the edge of the stairs so they can't kill me. So I've kind of, like,
They need to step up their game.
Oh my God, you're fired.
The developer said, according to the Wikipedia article, which does have citations here, it says Deck 13 Interactive described the game as inspired by Rise of the Robots and the Souls series. So the like that fighting game that we had on shareware trial disc of.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. I always wanted that game.
But yeah, it's really cool, dystopian future, yada yada. Again, this isn't really a spoiler alert, but your character like rolls into the game as a paraplegic in a wheelchair, and he gets this cool exosuit thing that like helps him move, and he's now like a capable human being. And like I've been able to find other characters that are part of the story that like go back to your med bay where you can like upgrade your stuff, and like these other characters give you some tips, and some of them give you materials and things like that. So like you're not the only person in the game. There are others that have the exosuits.
So it feels more lived in than Dark Souls.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
like where you feel like you're just being attacked from all corners. Like there are actual NPCs that you interact with and like talk to.
Bloodborne never felt like to me that there was people in it. There were just voices
and monsters.
It was a nightmare kind of world, though.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I don't know. That'll be interesting for me to check out.
I just like
Neo also feels like it feels a little more lived in because like the stuff you're fighting is kind of real. But
well, they are until you go back to the areas in like the nightmare modes or whatever, and then they're all demons. But like there are like you will run into like samurais that are like human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Surge is great. It's on sale right now too on Steam and actually on PlayStation 4. It's also for sale.
I think Xbox as well.
If you don't have a PC, buy this game on console because it plays best with a controller. It's fantastic. I love it. I think it's great, and I can't wait to play more of it.
Awesome.
I did go back to Assassin's Creed Origins for like a day too. I forgot about that because I was waiting for Shadow of the Colossus to come out, and I was like, what am I going to play? So I played that, and I enjoyed myself, but I felt kind of overwhelmed, like I always do when I fire up that game, because there's just too much to do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Alan sent in. That's our feedback. Is Alan sent in his 100%er review of Assassin's Creed Origins because he actually completed all of the side quests and everything,
and complained about it the whole time.
Probably much like you and Colossus.
Well, we can come back around to that.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention last night I got a bit inebriated and we played a serious like 3.5 hours worth of Stick Fighter on Steam. I think it's Stick Fighter. Or it might just be Stick Fight. I don't remember. But it's basically just Super Smash Brothers with like stick figures, and there's like guns and swords and things that you can pick up, and it's ridiculous.
That sounds awesome.
It is so stupid fun.
It kind of sounds like Nidhogg.
It might be. I don't know. It was $1.99 on sale.
All
like,
right.
Worth every penny. We got our money's worth last night playing with 4 people on a PC. It was hilarious. So if you have an extra $2 on your Steam account, feel free to, from selling all your PUBG wares, you can
those sweet leopard print pants.
Man, the PUBG clothing market has crashed pretty hard.
Yeah,
it's so worth
just
garbage.
like Bitcoin.
Those sweet shoes that I got were worth like 18 cents. Like,
well, I sold stuff for like one of the items I sold for like $11 or whatever.
That's ridiculous.
Well, we got to get that Webby family Steam share going on so that I can check out the Surge
for sure.
So we'll have to hop on that.
Yeah, so the Surge and Stick Fight, I think it's called Stick Fight.
Yeah, we should play that.
It's
like
a lot
bunch
of
of other games that we always talk about.
Yeah, like Star Trek Bridge Crew
live
and Farpoint Co-op.
Alan said Brian is a divine beast all his own.
Well, he looks exactly like one of the Colossus.
Yeah, I was
Shadow
just
of the
thinking
Colossus.
that.
So
I was cracking up jumping into my own beard in that game.
Yeah,
they built it just for you.
But yeah.
So
should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Well, you want to do news next?
Yes.
Let's do news. What's first?
News number 1 is Brian's story. What's going on?
Yeah.
Did you actually read this one?
I did, but I forgot it.
Oh, cool.
No, basically, one of the games I was really looking forward to this year is on hiatus. They were doing a System Shock reboot. This is Night Dive, I think, that's doing it.
Night Dive Studios.
Yes, Night Dive Studios. They did a re-release of System Shock 2, and I believe the first game as well. So that was cool. So you can actually get those off of Steam.
Oh, so they're the ones who did the work to make it so you could play it on a computer newer than Windows XP.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's cool of them. However, I guess they had to basically stop doing this remake. Like, this is a full-on remake of the original System Shock because they basically succumb to feature creep. Yeah, not creature feep.
Creature feep.
And it
Brian's
just
new Xbox Live gamer tag.
So yeah, it's
so they raised
on hold for quite a while.
$1.35 million on Kickstarter for this
Yes.
System Shock 1 remake.
But then because they had that money, like a lot of these Kickstarter things, they got over ambitious and
They're like, we're gonna add motion blur, and
instead of becoming like a remake, I guess it started to become like a whole new game pretty much. And now they have to put it on hold.
now they're like,
ran
hold
out of
up.
money.
Interesting.
And they need to reevaluate how they're going about it. But it sounds like it's been put off till like next year or something now.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come out.
The head of the
this year.
studio, the quote from the head of the studio says, "I've put the team on a hiatus while we reassess our path so that we can return to our vision. We're taking a break but not ending the project. System Shock is still going to be completed and all of our promises fulfilled." So we'll see if that really happens. But
I mean, I'm a firm
hopefully.
believer in like making sure games get the attention they need before released. So if these guys need to take a step back to like reassess and reevaluate and straighten things out, I'm okay with that.
It's just part of that weird realization that people have to come to with Kickstarter of you are not paying for a game yet. You are paying for the idea of a game, which may or may not succumb to developmental hell,
I guess that's like the benefit of like the what do you call it, game preview and like early access stuff, is that you actually have something to play and like do, but in this case you don't.
Yeah, it's kind of they're kind of the two
you're
sides
at the
of the
mercy
same
of
coin.
the developer.
Could be like a Minecraft situation where they're like, here's this thing we made, let's put features into it that the community wants. Or they can say, we're going to do all this behind a curtain, just give us your money.
Yeah.
And we'll see what comes out the other side. So I hope it finds its way back. I hope those people get their money's worth.
I would love to play. Like, you can go back and play the second one. You can put some mods into it or whatever, and it's playable.
Yeah.
It's ugly, but it's playable.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite games that I've ever played. But the first one, I mean, was also good, but it's like impossible to go back to, in my opinion.
We should say these are the games that kind of inspired or are the spiritual ancestor of BioShock and BioShock 2.
And most importantly, Deus Ex came right after these games, too.
Yeah. So this is like video game royalty, essentially.
Yeah.
So hopefully I think there's certainly a place for an updated version of System Shock.
For sure. Out. They are also the same company that's working on a full-on sequel, too. They are making System Shock 3, but apparently that's like a different team.
Yeah.
So
I mean, in an era of games as a service and multiplayer, competitive, everything, it's refreshing to see somebody and a community that still cares about this kind of game, because I feel like these games are just as important as those competitive ones.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Prey was well received. I feel like a lot of people, like a decent amount of people, bought it, and it's definitely in the vein of these games.
It's got a mostly positive status on Steam. So
yeah.
Well, and at the same time, $1.3 million is not going to be enough to make like a AAA game nowadays, essentially. So
yeah, that's part of the problem.
I mean, yes and no. What size is the team that's working on it?
Well,
you know what I mean?
What size is the team that's working on it? Did they have other
people? They were looking for
actually
other funding,
investors?
And that didn't work out. And I think that's one of the main
probably
reasons
why
they
hit
take a break.
this hiatus. So yeah, I don't know. I hope it straightens out.
Yeah.
Yep. Me too.
All right, John.
Yeah.
You've been watching some Rainbow Six.
I've been watching a stupid amount of Rainbow Six Invitational this weekend. More so, I don't really care to watch streamers stream anything ever. I don't really like.
Please watch our stream.
Yeah.
Isn't it fun to watch me wander around the map in PUBG?
The main
for 10
thing I want to
minutes?
stress about
and then get blown up by your own grenade.
Yes.
The main thing I want to stress about Rainbow Six is the fact that it has actually gotten me interested in watching other people play it.
Yeah.
Like, I have not had a game do that to me. This game I
Well,
want to watch.
You do it all the time, really. When we're playing and you die or whatever, you're watching everybody else.
No, I know,
play,
but
and
like
it's still fun.
I'm like extracurricular watching. Like,
Yeah. But
it's
outside of us playing, when I leave the game chat at 10 p.m. and go and lay down in bed, I'm watching stupid YouTube videos of people playing this game. Like,
It's the idea that we were
Yeah.
talking about of like the invitational for Dota. We're not going to watch that because we don't have the language of Dota and like
Yeah.
the
I don't
strategy
even
and everything.
know how to play the game.
But
at
we've
all,
played
so.
enough Rainbow Six to the point where we can look at
I'm
somebody
actually
playing
into
it.
this and like watching these guys play. And so
Yeah.
I've been watching the Rainbow Six Invitational this weekend. I watched the semifinals yesterday. It was ridiculous. Evil Geniuses and Penta are playing for the finals today. Everyone's voting for Evil Genius to win, which
What time is that
they're
at?
the North American. It started at 10 a.m. this morning.
Oh.
They did like their All-Stars game. I don't know exactly what time it could already be done at this point. I don't really know, but they announced they did some in-depth breakdown of the new operators that are coming with Operation Chimera. And the first operator is Finka, and Finka is a Russian attack op, and she's equipped with a global buff that buffs the entire team with lower recoil, faster ADS time for about 20 seconds, and it also boosts your HP by 20 points and can revive down teammates. The boost resistance, it also boosts resistance to and reduces the effect of concussion mines and flashbangs, and movement through barbed wire is also faster. Finka is embracing a very important support role. She has 2 speed and 2 armor. The global buff is weak against smoke and makes you more susceptible to pulse due to faster heart rate and breathing, which is really interesting that they've actually implemented these particular because these 2 new operatives are very powerful. Their abilities are like super OP in everyone's opinion on the internet right now, but they have thought about that and they've implemented certain things to kind of counteract them. One of my favorites is that Legion's goo and Echo's yokai will remove the buff completely. So if you get hit with the goo or you get concussion
Good news
blasted,
for us.
you're
Sweet.
done, because we always play with those 2. So
Pretty much.
it does, in order to
Wow,
play
that's awesome.
in order to play as Finka, the viewpoint
overhead
of
view,
all, it's just the Invitational is amazing. If anybody hasn't watched any of it, please go back and do it because it's so good.
I
I
didn't
found
really
it-
realize they had all this implemented into the game.
Oh yeah, it's
that's
it's
the
sweet.
most fascinating part to me is seeing how the pro-spectation tools that they've implemented into this kind of thing to see, like, because you can always see when they're spectating from somebody's screen, you can still see where all the enemies are. They've got this weird overhead
Yeah.
3/4
It actually
view.
looks like they're playing The Sims.
Yeah, and that's super
Well,
incredible.
What's
that's
really
awesome.
What's really cool about it is when they go into first person and they're watching from someone's particular perspective, and you can see the enemy's silhouettes on the screen that they're fighting against. And you can see the person's reaction to, like, oh, they hear someone this way, and then you look, and they're literally pointing their gun in the exact area where this next person's gonna peek, and like, they're like the guys playing. It's insane watching them play this because they're so fast and coordinated. Like, it's impressive, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of sound, I had the good fortune of trying out I don't remember the name of it, but Sennheiser makes a positional audio amp for headphones.
Yeah.
And my cousin Jim bought it, and I tried it out, and it is light years ahead of any other technology that I've heard.
Huh.
Like the 7.1 on my headphone system, I actually don't even like. I have it off most of the time.
Yeah.
Any of the other ones I've tried are nothing like this. This really makes things sound like they are distant and they are in a specific direction. And
That's pretty cool.
It's
What about-
incredible, but it's so expensive.
What about like compared to like your Oculus?
better than that?
Okay.
I'd say.
I've always been impressed by the PS.
Yeah, but the
PSVR
Oculus
stuff.
has pretty good positional audio for sure.
Anyways, so that's pretty much it for Finka. She seems pretty rad. I think the support roles are definitely cool, and global buffs are really sweet. Speaking of the next global buff, Lion, the other operative, is a French attack op.
Yeah.
He is equipped with an indestructible flying drone that uses a global effect to tag movement amongst the defending team.
I just felt $30 leave my pocket.
When he uses it, you don't even like the drone it just floats over the map. It's there when you load in, like it's just there. Like the
Interesting.
effect is like you actually like using like it on your person. This is This is the perfect operative for you as
Yeah.
a player who, instead of you being stuck on cameras the whole time, you can use this
Just sit there
and
and
still
watch.
be effective.
So
like,
can
as a
other
gunner.
people?
It works for everyone. Everyone sees it on the team.
Interesting. So this is a thing that he throws down. Is there
No,
any
he
like?
doesn't
No,
throw
it's in the
anything.
air.
It floats in the air. It's a
Above the whole
flying
map.
drone above the
It
whole
can't
map.
be destroyed.
It can't be destroyed. It's just there, and then he uses it on his like little
I think you get
iPad on his arm.
3 uses.
Let me run through the
Okay.
rest of it here.
All right. Yep.
So when he uses it, there's a 3-second warning that comes on screen, and within that 3-second warning, if you are a defending player, if you just hold still, you don't move, it doesn't register you.
You can change stances, I believe.
You can change stances.
You can aim. You can turn around.
aim
but you
and
can't
turn in
move your
place. But
feet.
if you move your feet to move forward, backward, left, or right, it tags you. It does it for 4 seconds. It'll tag you.
and
If you were,
it'll tell you when it's active too.
Yeah.
Both
Like
teams
like
know.
with
yeah.
Caveira
Yeah,
or
exactly.
there's a 10-second cooldown. It can be used 3 times in any round. He's also considered another support role. 2 speed, 2 armor. Mute is a hard counter to Lion's effect. If you're standing near a proximity jammer, it can't hit it. Like, you can't be seen.
Lion's an
And
attacker.
he's also an attacker. They introduced 2 attackers.
Okay.
So the 2 new operatives are both attackers. So the attackers are like OP right now. Like, as soon as these drop, no questions asked. 2 new defenders will be introduced later in the year as part of Season 3.
That's weird.
The rest of the patch notes will be released tomorrow, Monday the 19th, and Operation Chimera goes live on March 6th. So Operation Chimera also includes the what are they calling it? Their monster mode. I can't even remember.
Oh, the
I'm drawing a total blank here.
Outbreak?
Outbreak, yeah. So that also includes Outbreak, which will start on March 6th. A lot of people.
It's limited time though.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think.
4-week thing. It's only for a month. It's really funny because a bunch of people on Reddit were just complaining about how like these 2 new operatives are like supposed to be, like set up to wage war against chemical warfare, but like they both have like they're not wearing the right clothing for it. Like they're nitpicking the stupidest shit. Like,
Oh, that's
sounds
it.
about
I
right.
want my money back.
Sounds like the internet.
but yeah, Lion's whole thing is like it just for me, like knowing how you like to play the game as like support role. This is like the perfect support and attacking role for you because you would use this, but also not be like cornered looking at your cell phone camera. Like you would actually still be able to interact, and it helps everyone else be able to see that shit too. So
Yeah, I don't know if you'll like that because you'll actually have to play.
No, I've been getting more into that. I've played more Jack. I haven't played much of the game at all lately, which makes me really sad.
Yeah,
I've been
we all
itching
need
for
to
it.
get back into that.
But I've been getting more into Jackal and actually shooting people, so that's been good. I feel like Lion will be another opportunity for me to do that. Now that they nerfed Twitch.
It's probably, if he's French, I mean, it's probably more like Leon.
Alan said, "Is the French operative special skill to surrender as soon as he sees an enemy soldier?"
Yeah, so it's called White Flag. You can just raise it up, and then they can't
He
shoot
just
you.
pulls off his whitey tighties and waves them.
Yep.
So,
No, that's
They're
that's
actually
cool.
blue, white, and red.
yeah, and this, if anybody hadn't checked it out yet, I think the free weekend ends tomorrow, like tonight rather. So if you're listening right now, which you're probably not, because nobody does except Alan apparently,
Thanks.
you can play for free on
The-
Xbox, PlayStation,
Oh.
and PC.
To the season, so are Lion and Finca coming out early for season pass holders?
I think
is
you get access to them earlier. Yeah.
Okay, because I feel like I saw a tweet that they might be out already.
They may all. I mean,
don't
I've
know.
seen lots of shots of like people playing
Using
them,
them.
and like, I don't know if it's just part of the invitational that's going on. Like you're allowed, like people are playing it like in the
I mean,
facility
if you
in
get
Montreal.
the season pass, you get to play the new operators like a week or 2 early. I do know
That's
that.
what I was. That's what I
So
was
maybe
saying.
they were active.
I feel
now.
like I saw a tweet that was like, if you're looking for your new operators and you don't have them, do a hard reset, restart everything, shut the game down, blah blah blah.
Oh shit! I need to
I
get
don't
that
know.
season pass.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But
I
cool.
did try it out on PC because of the free weekend, and it is pretty damn nice playing on that. And like it was well over 100 frames per second the
Yeah.
whole time, and just the mouse and keyboard in that game. That's like a game changer. Like I was hitting people with the pistol like all the way across the room without any.
yeah, I
issues.
watched a dude play with mouse and keyboard and saw how quickly he was ruining people, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do very well. On
I
PC.
thought it would be super sweaty and I would get my ass handed to me, but I played a recruit and I was like middle
Instead,
of the
you
scoreboard,
were
got a
super
few
sweaty.
kills.
Oh, Gladish is listening too, but he already plays on PlayStation
Yeah, that's
and
true.
pays for it.
But yeah.
So,
Anyways,
you don't need the free weekend, Gladish.
moving on.
Yep. All right. The final news story here. There was some more news about Nintendo Labo. There's something called the Toy-Con Garage that lets you make your own custom playthings. And essentially what it comes down to, it looks like they're calling the cardboard pieces Toy-Cons. And there's a section of the game that's going to essentially allow you to kind of program, use like a Lego Mindstorm.
Very rudimentary programming language of if-then statements.
Yeah.
Like, if this happens, then this will happen.
Yeah.
So,
I want to play a broom as a guitar.
You can kind of, it look like you can see this in the video that we're looking at right now. They just have like small little cardboard things that you could make yourself. You can like attach markers to them to give them like a lance, essentially, like all kinds of stuff like that to try and make different games with these different cardboard creations that you can make with just any old cardboard that's around your house. So
I'm pretty excited to have a use for all the cardboard.
This is
for my
so
Amazon
Japanese.
packages I get.
Like, this is the most Japanese thing anybody in America is ever going to do. This is more Japanese than sushi.
This is more Japanese than Japan.
it's
itself.
it's pretty incredible. Like it's an awesome idea, and it's great because I have a bunch of cardboard that I could bring home from work every single week.
Is pretty
Is
awesome.
there anything we can make, like, I mean, if we use cardboard to make tentacles, like, what can we do?
I'm gonna
with the
hit abort on
tentacles?
this right now.
Let's stop there.
There was a tweet that I saw that I showed you guys. It's this little tweet of there's some kind of like motocross game, like Excite Bike essentially, and in Nintendo Labo, and you can use the IR camera on one of the Joy-Cons to like take an IR picture of something in the world.
Like an appendage, perhaps?
Yeah, like a hand, and then it makes it into an actual course to motocross on. Which
it's pretty amazing.
It's surprising. Like I didn't realize that IR camera actually caught that kind of detail. So
That's just too cool, man.
it's pretty sweet. And we were talking before the show about like what if we made Lego sets or something like that.
Yeah, Lego sets. That's what you guys brought up.
Yeah,
is Lego
I don't
sets.
doubt
Yes.
that.
What if you pointed Lego sets at this thing? What else did you point at it? Fucking sickos.
Anyway,
There may be
Balls.
some profane maps out there.
The scrotum map.
Yes, quite
yeah,
possibly.
You know, they're probably taking the people that were on the U-verse for Splatoon with all the probable penis drawings. That
Hey,
were on
honey,
there.
look, Jimmy's driving on my balls.
Jimmy, stop playing with your junk. But anyway, that's it for news today.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all. Just like a
There were other things that
35
happened,
minutes
but
worth of news.
Yeah, you know, we like to pick
and
our
what we've
own
been
collection of news that we actually care about is the idea.
It's curated news.
Rather than running down a list of things that happened and not really caring about any of them,
These are the only 3 things that mattered in the last few weeks.
Yes.
anyways.
Yeah.
So, Shadow of
the Colossus.
Oh man.
Shadow of the Colossus is a remake for PS4, is a remake of a PS2 game that also got a remaster on PS3. It's by a company called Team Eco, a first-party PlayStation studio. They made a game called Eco for PS2, and they made a game called The Last Guardian for PS4.
The new version is Blue Point. Did it?
Yeah. The original games were done by Team Eco. Blue Point took the remastered job here and remastered Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4. It's a action-adventure game. You are running around and tracking down 16 colossi that you need to kill in order to bring your girlfriend back to life.
Pretty standard stuff, story-wise.
Yeah, and basically the only, other than the colossi, the only living thing in this world is you and the horse that you ride around on. And, yeah, it's a game that came out in like 2003 or something like that for PS2. And it's a game that was on my 50 games that everybody needs to play. And like that was one of the games that
I can understand why now.
That I brought up in that case. But John, I want to know why you hate this game.
I don't hate it.
I think you might actually enjoy
Here's
the parts
the
that I
thing.
enjoy.
I have never at any point in time been like, oh, I want to play that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It just never like I just never was into it. Like it never struck me as like a game that I needed to or wanted to play. Like I don't know why. Maybe it's just because at that point when the PS2 when it was released on PS2, I was like solely playing GameCube.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like maybe
It was
that
pretty
has
well.
something
It was
to do with
pretty
it.
late
Like,
game PS2 as well. So.
yeah, and that's when I was like really into GameCube and Metroid Prime 2 and Tales of which one was it?
Tales of Symphonia.
Symphonia.
Yeah.
I was like really, which that I just realized is on PC now, and it was $3.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I should go back and get that. But yeah, I don't know. I just never felt the need to play it. Never really wanted to play it, and just like again, it's one of those things where everybody I talk to is like, oh, you'd love this game, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna play it then. Just like everybody's like, you would love Game of Thrones, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch that.
You're lost.
Sorry.
Well, Game of Thrones is stupid. Shadow of the Colossus is great. Yeah. So
You just killed so many people. Like with
I
that.
like Game of Thrones and I watch it and I'm up to date, but I would not put it anywhere near the same.
No,
caliber
I
as
just
Shadow of the
I'm
Colossus.
comparing the
Yes,
experience,
the experience
of like
of everybody
of
telling
people
you to do
telling
a
me
thing.
telling me I would I'd like they're like
Well,
you would love this.
I'm the
This-
same
here's
way
the
about,
difference,
like,
though.
Arrested
People don't tell
Development.
you that you would love Shadow of the Colossus because there's a lot of boobs in it, though, do they?
No, they
It's not
don't.
the same thing as Game of Thrones.
No, but it's people
There
telling
aren't
me
a lot of boobs in it, so John really doesn't
it's
care.
people
Yeah.
telling me
Yeah,
what
maybe you
they
wouldn't like
think I
Shadow
would
of
like. They're
Colossus.
telling me what what they think I would like not really knowing like what kind of games I'm into or whatever. Like just because I like dragons doesn't mean just because I play D&D doesn't
There
mean
are
I
no
would
dragons
like.
in Shadow of
My
the Colossus.
standpoint is that it's not that you should play it because you would like it. I think you should play it because it is one of the greatest games of all time.
What makes it so great?
You should play it because it's on our list of games that we collaborated
That
on.
50 people
everyone
or
should
50
play.
games that everybody should play. Let's talk about it, I guess. Brian,
Yes,
as
let me
as the
clear the
as
air
the
right
newcomer
now.
here, how do
I
you
have
feel
done
about
my
this game?
share of bitching about this game, and I will stand by most of what I said. But I don't want to give anybody the impression that I didn't like the game because I absolutely did like it.
It didn't sound like it in the chat. It sounded like it's the worst experience you've ever had.
There are issues with it. Like I felt hearing so much praise about it for
A decade.
15 years now
Yeah.
or whatever. It made me skeptical. Like, how is this going to be when
Yeah.
I play it? You know, especially being old. Like, the new version of it is a graphical update, and that is it
No.
for the most part, from what I understand.
No.
Okay,
There
then what
are,
did?
there are controls updates that make it way more playable than it was the first time.
Well, then I
around.
would hate playing the original because I still have my.
It's not big. There's nothing colossal, one might say, but it does feel a lot better and more responsive than the original game did.
Well, that probably has something to do with the fact that it runs at a good steady frame rate now. Because I heard it used to kind of suck. In that regards.
It would dip, but no, it is a Team Eco game symptom that controls feel floaty and weird.
Okay.
It's true of The Last Guardian still. It's true of Eco. It's true of the original Shadow of the Colossus. And this game feels a lot better than those do.
Okay.
But anyway, please keep going.
I will say, okay, the parts I dislike about the game. Let's go over that right now. I am bored to tears in the parts in between fighting Colossi. Like, I hate riding around on that stupid horse. I understand, like, toward the end, I started to appreciate the horse more in that it actually feels like a living, breathing entity in the world.
Yeah.
Because it definitely has a mind of its own. Like, it won't fucking go the direction I want it to half the time and decides to turn around and ignore me and run off scared and all the things that maybe an actual horse might do. But from a gameplay perspective, I hate that thing. I don't find riding horses in any video game to be that compelling. Like, they were pretty cool, I thought, in Red Dead Redemption, and that might be about it.
Yeah.
But they also feel more like a vehicle in that game. It's essentially GTA in the West, so that makes sense.
Mhm.
But yes, aggro is aggravating. Yes, very much so. But just like finding the Colossi in general is is just, I feel like it just pads the length of the game unnecessarily. I would rather spend more
for the
time.
the latter 8 for sure.
Yeah, because the
first 8
later ones, you have to go out further into the map,
Yeah,
and it just takes forever. The save system, I don't recall them actually explaining it properly. Is when you actually
they don't explain it.
pray at a shrine, it'll save the game.
It'll save
when
you
you
there,
manually save, it puts you all the way back at
It
the
just
fucking
saves your
beginning of the
progress.
temple,
Yeah.
no matter where you save. So it's actually worse to manually save than to just let it automatically save or let it save at, or to pray at the shrines to save.
Yeah, I never really saved at any of the shrines, so.
Well, I do, because sometimes I get mad at doing a Colossus and I shut the game off and I want...
I usually just leave it suspended in that case.
Well,
but-
sometimes like I shut it off to play Rainbow Six or whatever.
yeah,
so
that's fair.
I lose my progress. Overall, like the rest of the controls, I think are fine.
Yeah.
Like when you're actually climbing the Colossi and doing whatever you need to do to defeat them, that's cool. I love like the whole approach to the Colossi themselves is very unique. Like that stands up to the test of time very well, because I haven't played any other game where basically every boss is a puzzle like it is in this game.
Yeah.
And that is cool. Like they didn't run out of fresh ideas for the whole game. There are a few I thought were kind of weak. Like they weren't that enjoyable, but they were still cool in overall. But yeah, there's definitely some standout ones too. Like the it's not really spoilery, but like the 5th one's like a giant bird.
The ones that fly, I
The
think
flying
are my
ones
favorite.
are, yeah, and the one that goes like underground was kind of cool. It was like a serpent one.
Yep.
But some of them I thought were kind of silly. Like there was the one, there's 2 little tiny ones. I mean, tiny as far as the Colossus goes,
the
like
bowl,
the size of like
essentially.
an elephant, basically. But yeah, they look like bowls. That's like the only time they even get close to repeating a boss, because there's 2 of those. They look pretty much identical, but you have to defeat them in different ways. I thought the second one of those was like kind of tedious, because you just keep climbing shit over and over
I really
again.
like that. That's the only one where like you're using the environment to fight.
Yeah, that idea was cool. I just thought like the amount of times you had to do that was kind of excessive. But I mean, that's all pretty minor. Like overall, they're just so epic to fight, and like
For sure.
they like it's hard for me to imagine that this game even came out on PlayStation 2.
Exactly.
Because it like with all the environmental stuff, that like the destruction of environmental
Well, with
things,
that
like I
thought,
can't imagine them doing that on a PlayStation.
Whisper Sharks here in the chat asked, "Is anyone else tired of remastered games?"
This isn't a remaster. This is a remake. To me, this is a full remake.
Did they do it from the ground up? Like, was it like?
Well, no, from what I understand, because they used a lot of like the original programming.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was like from the ground up, but this is so much more than a remaster to me.
This is also a game
it's
that
not-
came
they
out
didn't
15
just-
years ago, and this is the only way I can play it because I never owned a PlayStation
Right,
2.
right.
I'm
Well,
not
that's
gonna buy
so.
one
That's
now.
what Gladys said. He said, "Not if it's a game I didn't play before, like Shadow of the Colossus." Like a similar. Like I kind of feel the same way about it. Like if it's something I haven't played before, like totally. But
Yeah.
then I think about games. If you look at the Switch and the Switch's current library, a lot of that is just like remasters of like Neo Geo games and like
Yeah,
shit we
that,
played
that's
years
kind
ago.
of
Like
ridiculous.
I
I will say I am kind of sick of that. I would like to see more fresh games in the.
Well, they're
Switch
also
library.
re-releasing Wii U games because they only
they
sold
didn't
12
right. They
of
didn't
them,
get
so
they didn't get the attention they deserved. Like
Yeah.
the Bayonetta series
But-
is now is like blowing up.
They-
Like,
Shadow of the Colossus, I looked it up. It came out in 2005, so it's about
2005,
13 years
okay.
old. It was towards the end of the PlayStation's life cycle. It's actually a little hard to get a copy of it, although it did go into greatest hits. And then it came out remastered for PS3. And that was good. But this game looks the way I remembered it being on PS2. Like when I look back fondly on it, you know, the idea that your mind's eye of a game is like, oh, I remember it looking this great and sounding this great and all this stuff. Then you go back and play it and it doesn't look anywhere like that. This game looks the way that my memory of Shadow of the Colossus is.
Yeah.
It is just as epic. It sounds just as great.
Yes, the music and the sound are fantastic.
It's all
too.
about the music to me because it's just the cues that they have. There's a specific cue that you get when you're like on the Colossus and about to attack it. There's a specific cue that you get after you kill the Colossus that has this just like bittersweet tone to it and the sadness of like you just killed one of the only 18 living things in this entire game. Like and it's just, and the horror of the like black tentacles that come out of the Colossus. Every single time I feel compelled to try and run away.
That was particularly chilling with one of the water enemies.
Yeah. Where you can literally you can't even try to run away from it.
You're just in the water and all of a sudden bam.
You get hit with them. Like all of the presentation of all of it is perfect. And it was like this on the PS2, but the fondness that I have for the PS2 version of it, this feels like a more fully recognized version of that to me. And that's why I think this remake, even though nobody was really asking for it and it came out of nowhere, I think it's a perfect opportunity. The vistas of the world are gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So when you say that you get bored of it, I just love looking around at the details of everything as you're riding past.
That would be great if I could get the camera to cooperate and let me look where I want to look.
The camera's a little wonky sometimes. I can fully cop to that, but I just kind of like move it around a bit and kind of check it out and just do that kind of thing. And it didn't really get in my way too much this time around, but I remember previously being like, God, I wish this camera would.
I also
work better.
Like the HDR is impressive. It definitely looks better with it on, but it makes the game incredibly dark in
Very
spots
dark,
for me. But you can tell the differences between certain dark areas at least.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, it's not like all black, but
I'm playing.
It makes some of the bosses pretty difficult. Like one of the water ones that is underwater. Like that one was really hard for me to see what the hell I was doing.
Playing like in the complete darkness, it hasn't really been an issue for me so much because it just makes it easier to see the darker stuff. But like when I was trying to play earlier today, when you guys were looking, it's a lot harder to see the darker scenes. The flying colossi are my favorites. The fifth one, and then I think the 13th or whatever, the one that has the
that one was pretty cool.
The blimp bags underneath it or whatever. Like the idea that you bring them down to your level and then climb onto them and they are flying around this gigantic area. It's like you said, the fact that it was achieved on PlayStation 2 at any frame rate is kind of a miracle. But
what did they do about like fur and stuff back then? Because that's like a big part of this. And
there was fur.
So real.
It didn't look great.
The PS2 was the first push of like real particle physics and things in games. So like that was like a big factor in like what that system could do.
Yeah,
that's why they did that. What was that?
Must have killed the frame rate.
What was the firework game that came out? Was like the
Fantavision.
Yeah, Fantavision was like the big push for that sort of thing. So,
but the thing that this game gets most right that I don't think any other video game that I have ever played has ever gotten right is scale. It feels huge. The monsters feel gigantic. The final Colossus feels like the tallest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just
ridiculous.
There's something about how they make you feel so tiny and insignificant up against these huge monsters that I don't know that any other video game is ever going to be able to match. Like it's just incredible.
Video game vertigo.
Yeah. Like it's one of those things where it's like if somehow they made like VR Shadow of the Colossus, it would be terrifying, and I would probably vomit, but it would be amazing.
I do not want to be on the arm of a Colossus in VR
as it's flapping and
shaking off.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
It's a game that I think everybody needs to play, even if you don't love it when you play it, even if it's not your cup of tea, even if you don't finish it.
Did you guys both buy hard copies?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll borrow it
You
whenever
can-
you're
you
done.
can-
I'm
you
not
can-
going to pay for it.
You can
like-
borrow mine today because I'm going to be going on a cruise for a week. So
Yeah. So
you can certainly try it out. But it's just it's a masterpiece.
that's the thing. I'm
to me.
not opposed to playing it. I mean, one of the things Gladish brought up in the chat was that he recommended Rainbow Six and knew I would love it, and I do. And he's right. But what I was explaining to him was that it was filling a void. Like that.
Yeah, the void that Destiny 2 left
That's
us.
exactly what I said. I was like, Destiny 2 wasn't very fulfilling. Like our Rainbow Six is definitely fulfilling. So that was like why I wanted a challenging multiplayer experience.
Yeah. And
he
not
knew-
challenging in a way where there's 4 other people.
Gladish
standing on
knew
the
how
other
much
side
I
of the map.
liked the coordinated,
Shooting.
tactical sort of small team things of playing skirmish and Trials of Osiris. So he was like, "You would dig this," and
Yeah.
he was right.
Yeah.
And so, and he was even like between him and Zach, like the two of them picked out my first operators because they knew my play style. Like they knew what I would be into.
Yeah, and you still play them to this day.
I do. Well, no, I don't play Rook anymore.
Oh,
but that's
yeah,
not the
good
point.
And this is the thing, is that it's not a game that I look at and think John would love this, because those do exist. Like, there are certain things that I can see and be like, I think John would really like this. I don't know that this is one of those games, but I think literally everyone who plays video games should try this game out.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you guys pushed Horizon on me too, like, and said you would totally be into this, and I thought I would be into Horizon, but
You
then when I
probably
actually
would
sat
be,
down
you
and
just
played
need
it,
to spend more time.
I
with
just
it.
couldn't get into it. So
Sometimes you bounce off of things, and that happens, and maybe you'll go back to it later and try it out, or maybe not. But I just feel like if I had to pick 5 video games that were entered into the Library of Congress, this is one of them.
yeah,
For sure, hands down. I don't know what the other 4 are, but this is on that list. Like, this is one of those games that when Ebert comes out and says, I don't think video games are art, I think this is Exhibit A against that case. And it's from the sound, it's from the minimal story, it's the lack of words, it's like everything that goes on in the game, I think, are things that you need to look to get out of it. Like, you could just be like a dude who's like, oh man, taking down some sick Colossi today, this is sweet. But if you sit there and like,
Five, bro.
if you think about the emotions of it all, if you think about what it means to be going to destroy these gigantic
Yeah,
Colossi.
I will say I almost done with it. Like I
wish you
gave up
finished
on
it.
the last one.
Yeah.
Because I was the more I played it, the more frustrated I got and the worse I got at it. So
Yeah.
I just needed to set it down.
I wish
I'll
you
probably
finished
finish
it
it today.
because I would like to talk about some of the ending stuff, but it's probably better that we
Yeah,
don't.
I am very curious what's going to happen.
But
yeah. I mean, I'll try it out for sure. I'm interested in playing it to an extent. I just, like, in the past, I never had any desire to.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't because everybody thought I think you love it. It was just, I just never felt the need to play it. It was just, again, I think a lot of it dealt with the fact that it came at the end of PS2's life, and
Yeah.
I was mainly focused on GameCube at that point.
yeah,
So I was just playing different games altogether.
I think by that time you had given me.
I gave you the
PS2,
PS2 at
yeah.
that point. Yeah, like I was kind of over it because I
Yeah.
had the GameCube and I
Yep.
was really into that, and I had a DS at that point too, and then I traded that for a PlayStation Portable. So
Yep.
I was kind of all over the place. Again, I go through these
PlayStation
phases.
Portable?
Yeah, the PSP.
Oh,
Yeah, the
forgot
one before the Vita.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
What else was I going to say? Oh, they did manage to sneak in some Last Guardian stuff, which has me kind of wondering if there's anything like it in the original, but I don't think there is. Like, I don't know if you've noticed as you're running around, but there's a lot of blue butterflies.
Well,
Yeah.
haven't they said that this, like, all of the Team Eco games, aren't they all in the same universe to some extent, or no?
I think they are, and I could tell you that
Pardon my drinking.
my guess here, there's a chance that you are playing the same protagonist in all 3 games. I'll put it that way. And kind of the rough timeline, I think, is that Shadow of the Colossus is the first game in the series technically, chronologically, but there's a lot of blue butterflies kind of floating around, which are something that wasn't really prevalent until The Last Guardian, as far as I know, unless they worked that in throughout the whole thing. But then there's also, like, you feed Trico in The Last Guardian with these barrels that the butterflies are attracted to for some reason. And I was just happening through a forest and I found a cave that I went into, and they had a little barrel there with blue butterflies around it, and then it gave me a trophy. It's like a little Easter egg for The Last Guardian.
Yeah,
so it was cool.
It took
that
me
they
a
put
while
it
to
in there.
even notice any of the collectibles.
Yeah, that's the other
but
thing.
I felt like I was kind of like I started to appreciate the game more as I was going through it because I wasn't rushing as much too. I was trying to finish it before we recorded, but then I was just like, if I'm rushing, I'm going to enjoy it a lot less.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of work through it slowly.
And that's the thing. It's like you can go through and collect fruit to increase your life
that's
bar.
not necessary.
You can go and shoot lizards to get more grip meter.
That I do wish I would have done more. Now
Yeah.
that I'm on the last one, and this is the only one that I've had an issue with grip.
I've done it when I notice them running around in front of me. I'll stop and be like, okay, I guess I'll go kill this lizard.
Yeah.
The other thing is they did put another collectible in the game for the PS4 version.
The coins.
The gold coins that I think there's like 74 of them or something like that.
I found 3.
Yeah, I found like something like that. But so that's another added thing for people who played the original one that wasn't in this one.
Yeah.
They're kind of hidden all over the place. So it's really good. It's a great game. I think everybody should check it out. It's only $40. $40 for this game, I think, is a steal.
Yeah, if you haven't already bought it 2 other times, it's definitely worth $40.
I bought it at least one other time, and I think it's totally worth it. How long has it been? Like, how do you know what your runtime is at the moment?
I'm not sure.
I'm about around 5 hours, and it might come out to be like 5.5, 6 by the end of it. But that's
You're
because
much better at the game.
It's because I know I knew some of the tips and tricks because I've beaten it before.
Yeah, I think last time I looked, I was at like 7, but that was probably at number 13 or so.
If you took your time, not including the gold coin collectibles,
I spent a lot of time wandering around going the wrong direction and battling the horse. Like sometimes I would spend like 20 minutes getting to the Colossus, and it would take me like 5 minutes to finish it.
Did my tip of trying to steer it less
a little
help?
bit?
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's one of the things. It's like you don't got to steer it when you're on like one of those land bridges. It'll just go if you keep pressing triangle to make it go fast.
Yeah, actually, you can just hold triangle most of the time too.
There are little things you can do with the horse. Like if you jump on it and you immediately press back and triangle, it'll start out at full speed, which I kind of like. But there's other things you can do too.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of weird little nuances to the controls.
Yeah.
But
it's
stuff you can ignore, really.
It's incredible. So everybody play it. John, you can play my copy.
Cool. Yeah, I was just chatting it up with Whisper Sharks and Gladish in the chat.
Sweet.
Because I don't know if I'm assuming Alan's still watching, but just not engaged in Rainbow Six chat.
So yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna bring up Whisper Shark's topic again about remasters because I think it's a good one. His main example was Capcom and their current library of like remasters and re-releases of all their old stuff. And my response to that was that I think say for Resident Evil 7, Capcom's really trying to reassess their place in the current video game world. Things have changed a lot for all developers, and I think they're really just trying to figure out what works best in so many different platforms. Not being tied to just controllers and consoles is a bit jarring considering the possibilities with mouse and keyboard and VR now. So much like
I would agree with that.
Much like how Rockstar is like redoing all their games, and like Bethesda's redoing their games like for the Switch to like see what's capable, what are the possibilities for those sorts of things. I think is really really interesting. Just to see, like, because I mean, look at LA Noire. Like, I don't know how well LA Noire sold on Switch, but they were using it as like a test to see what the hardware's capable of handling and the motion controls and everything. Because you're able to use the Joy-Con to like turn over sheets of paper and
like
yada yada.
Like port than like a remaster or anything.
Right, but it's again, it's a way for them to test what they're capable of doing with this new hardware, and I think that's what a lot of these remasters are. If they're the sort of remaster that actually takes advantage of different hardware, So I don't know. I'm into it, like, to an extent, but I also do think that there are like I was saying, I would much rather see innovation and like challenges, like overcoming challenges in certain, like, if I mean, this is totally ridiculous, but just as an example, like if you wanted to create an immersive environment and like you were somehow able to like using the technology we have, like trigger scent, like something ridiculous like that. Like if you're playing a VR game and you're walking through a field and somehow like the game is able to simulate like the scent of flowers, like something like that.
Or if you were going through a sewer and it smelled
yeah, and
like
then you
shit.
just smell like garbage, right? I just think the idea of like that sort of innovation is the kind of stuff I like to see, and you're not going to get that with like remakes and remasters,
True.
Yeah, that's like the whole VR thing again. Like I was a total. I did not think, I thought VR was a total gimmick until we played the PSVR, and then it completely changed the way I looked at it. So
I think we see so many remasters just because of the prohibitive cost of making AAA games now.
right.
Like a lot of publishers are just like, well, let's just like spit out this game, touch it up. But we already made the game. We don't have to sit here and spend a bunch of time designing it, and we can make money off of it. So
yeah,
yes,
and I don't remember.
It could be a bit lazy sometimes, for sure.
I don't recall if it was Split Screen or if it was the Replay guys, but one of the podcasts, those are the only two other video game podcasts I listen to, by the way, is Kotaku, Split Screen, and Replay out of Australia. Shout out to those guys because we love them. But one of those two podcasts had talked about the idea that like they are more than willing to pay $70 to $80 for a full finished game because somebody somewhere thinks $60 is like the cost of games has gone up, like to create
To
games
make
has
a
gone
game,
up,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
like the price of games, like when anybody's tried to raise the price of an actual game, it gets shot down by the community. And like I'm kind of in the same boat where I feel like I'll pay $80 for a game that's done. Like give me a finished game and I'll pay you
Like
$80.
I would have spent
like
$60 on Shadow of the Colossus because I get I like to I mean, fortunately it was only 40 and actually less than that with Gamers Club Unlocked.
Yeah.
But I always liken like $60 on a game. Okay, you can go see like maybe 3 movies and get some snacks with that much money, and that's going to take up 5 to 6 hours of your time.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And a video game for $60, like shit, if it's like Assassin's Creed Origins, you're going to spend forever playing it if you're into it. Or like Horizon Zero Dawn, I mean, I've probably put, I think with the DLC, I've put like 60 to 80 hours in that game, and I still haven't even done everything.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3, I've put 165 hours in. I haven't even done the DLC yet, and I think I did maybe a quarter of all the quests. It like I don't know what people are expecting for $60. Like that's a lot of value. Yes, I understand $60 is too much when you're playing like the Order 1880 whatever it was.
1886. Yep.
Yeah, that was a bit much. Like I don't want to spend $60 for a 5-hour game that sucks.
Right.
Yeah. The game preservationist in me is okay with remakes because it just makes sure that we can play older games, especially like when you're not going to be able to play an arcade cabinet anymore.
Well,
At
yeah,
least there's
or it's-
30,000 other ways to play Pac-Man.
It falls in with the whole like these older generations like throwing the original Mario at their children to be like, here, you think you're good at games? You think you're going to be a pro gamer, MLG Pro, 360 no scope? Like, play some Mario and see how far you get. Because that first Goomba's killed more people in all of time than any other Goomba or any other enemy in any game ever.
I almost bought that weird Super Mario that's on the Switch. It's like not it's
Super
the
Mario
arcade
Versus?
version or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and I don't know. I'm the same kind of guy who's like, oh, they put out a new Blu-ray with a new transfer of this older movie that looks better than the other Blu-ray that I bought for $5. I will totally buy that kind of thing. So maybe I'm the wrong person.
You are.
Yeah, now you have to
You're
buy
like-
all the Ultra 4K ones.
You're a
Yeah.
completely different type of whale. That's what you are.
Yeah.
You're like the
I mean,
large.
you have like 4 different copies of the same album just because they're printed different.
Yeah,
that's
you're
true.
like you are any kind of developer publisher's dream is what
yes
you are.
and no. Yes and no.
But anyways, we did get some feedback from Alan, who is in the chat right now. I'm going to read it off real quick. It was the email was titled, "I finished Assassin's Creed, so you don't have to." He says, "Hello, gentlemen. I've somehow managed to 100% Assassin's Creed. I'll try to be objective objective as possible here when talking about it. So after completing the main story, I was looking for some pinnacle of wisdom, some real juicy story as to how the Brotherhood of Assassins was started. When in reality, I was left with what feels like a slapdash effort as story writing that feel." I'm sorry if I'm reading this wrong. Hold on. When in reality, I was left with what feels like a slapdash effort as story writing that feels like it was totally forgotten about and just tacked on to the end of the game. Major disappointment for me as I play games for the story. I want to feel like I'm playing an interactive movie. The actual gameplay is pretty good and enjoyable, but if you level up too quick, you just feel like you're playing a souped-up version of Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, no. That really doesn't make me want to finish it.
I mean, have you played Dynasty Warriors ever?
Yeah, it's terrible.
No, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to just mow through a crowd of
that was one of the first games
people.
I got for 360, and I hated it.
Graphically, I think I'll be hard pushed to find a game that looks better. You can certainly tell where all the time and money was invested, and it really looks incredible. In some regard, I think the vastness of the game goes against it. When I was sitting down each day to get through all the side quests, I really felt like I was logging in for a day of work, feeling like I had to get a certain amount done before I could finish up for the day and log out. In all honesty, it's overwhelming. After a certain amount of doing what I just realized that I was jumping off of various cliffs on my horse to see how high I could jump from without dying. That's how I was getting my fun out of the game at that point.
Did you try that with a camel? That would be more fun.
It took some solid playing of the game to realize that they had recycled dialogue from some of the older games, which was disappointing. Although one thing I did notice was whatever outfit you wear affects the dialogue, which is cool.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet. After playing the game for so long, it really felt like they had taken the best bits of gameplay from all the other games and stuck it into this one. The sandy landscapes from the first Assassin's Creed, plus the puzzles solving from the second one, and the ship sailing and underwater exploration from Black Flag. I could go on. Anyway, all in all, I learned more about the actual story of the precursor race from doing a certain batch of side quests. A decent game, but it needs to be stripped way back, in my humble opinion. As the assassin saying goes, you can defeat an army of Romans, but you will most certainly be killed by 3 bites of a cobra. Why do they keep cobras in jars? I'll never know. Looking forward to the next podcast. As always, your angry Scotsman, Alan.
I think, in my opinion, with Assassin's Creed, I wanted a good story more than I wanted more combat. And
I think everybody kind of
know?
wanted a good story.
So the idea that they made it into this open world thing with all kinds of different missions, it works pretty well, but am I going to want to play 60 hours of it? Probably not. I would much rather give you $60 for 12 hours of good story than $60 for 60 hours of middling combat.
When I play it, I understand they wanted to make things feel fresh with the combat and stuff, but the way the combat plays out makes me not feel like a badass assassin like I used to. Like, when I would run around in Assassin's Creed 2 just to get enough people following me to have an interesting fight with just the hidden blades, it was just an awesome feeling to constantly counter their attacks and just fight off like 20 dudes at once. In this game, if you fight more than one person at a time, it's like impossible.
Yeah.
And it seems to happen a lot, and I don't know.
Glad you got 100% on it, Alan.
Yeah, I still he told me he had beaten the game or whatever, and I was like, "Did you 100% it?" This was like a few weeks back. He's like, "No," and I was like, "Let me know if you do."
Yeah.
And I didn't think he'd actually do it because I knew how much he was struggling trying to get through the main story because he was having he just wanted the story and it wasn't just readily available. So I kind of challenged him in that, but I'm glad he did it. I think it's it's a game I wanted to finish because I want the story.
I want to finish it too. There's no way I'm gonna do 100% of it though.
No.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn is probably like the only game I've been entertaining going back and finishing everything. But yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did that for us, Alan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate the feedback. So, yeah,
I think that's it.
That's it. What else is going on with the network?
So we're doing the Alienist recap podcast.
Yeah.
How's that show going? I haven't listened to the podcast because I haven't been watching.
It's going pretty good. Like it's the show finally feels like something that I really want to watch. Like I think I'm hooked after episode intriguing. 3 or 4. I think it's something that people should check out. It's only going to be 10 episodes total, so we're almost halfway through. We put our recap of the 4th episode out this past Friday, which was a little late because last week was crazy. And then this week I'm going to be on a cruise, so it's going to be late again. But
And you're not going to be able to play Rainbow Six.
Yep. After that, it should be more regular. So please check out The Alienist and The Alienist Recap Podcast if that sounds like something that you would be into. And then back on February 8th, the Horror Movie Yearbook guys put out their episode 29, The Class of 1997, to talk about Event Horizon. They're scaling back to one movie per episode now that Willie's going to be a daddy and Tim's getting married, so things are they're slowing down a bit.
Life is getting in the way.
I thought maybe I don't have the right phone number for Willie, but I texted him a while back and said, let me know before you record 97 because I have a story for you. So I'll just tell my little anecdotal story now. So the theme music that Horror Movie Yearbook uses is from my old band, the Gamma Foundation. And the Gamma Foundation was kind of spawned out of a enormous love for the movie Event Horizon, as well as some maybe inebriating substances that we had partaken in.
Kids.
But the intro song that of the album is what those guys use as their theme song, and I'm flattered that they even wanted to use it to begin with. But I think it's very fitting of them to use that particular, any of the music from the Gamma Foundation, because the band was literally like the story that we had created behind this concept was that it was scientists in space experimenting with consciousness, and it was very much influenced by Event Horizon. So I wanted to share that with them, but it's all good. I know I'm sure I got to go back and listen to that episode now because that Event Horizon is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So
yeah, they're plugging away 97. So
cool.
I don't know what other two movies they're going to talk about yet. I haven't listened to the full episode yet because they started talking about the Cloverfield paradox, and I haven't watched it yet. So I wanna watch that first.
Right.
Whisper Sharks is a friend of mine from one of the former co-ops at work.
Oh, right on.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching, Ed.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks to Whisper Sharks and Gladish and Alan for joining us in the Twitch chat there. I really appreciate it. If you want to follow us on social media or listen or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNerds.com/links. And as always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch as well as rate and review us on your next podcatcher or your favorite podcatcher. Our next episode, I don't really know what we're going to cover, but were you picking up Dragon Quest Builders at some point? Or
maybe.
We were debating. I think we were debating that. I was debating that. I know that much.
I might go try and rent it from the local video store and take it on my cruise.
Interesting.
I'm probably going to spend the next 2 weeks cursing at the last Colossus that
and
I need to
pooping.
finish.
Cursing and pooping.
And
that's Brian's agenda.
I don't know. Might finish up Prey.
Yeah. So
Let's let me take a quick look here, and let's take a gander at what might be coming out in the next couple of weeks here. Bayonetta did come out this week for Switch. The Secret of Mana remaster or remake came out as well this week.
But that's on everything but Switch.
Yeah, it's on
I
Windows,
only want
PS4
it on
and Vita.
Switch. So
EA just put out Fee.
I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about
Faye?
that.
I
Like
don't-
people seem to really like
Iron.
it, or they think it's mediocre.
Yeah, I don't know.
it seems
Age of
interesting.
Empires Definitive Edition is out next week,
Okay.
the 20th. So is Metal
into
Gear
that.
Survive. I
I don't
Don't
care
know.
about
thanks.
Survive.
don't know.
I didn't even actually get into the game to play it. I was just in like the trial area, and I was like, "This is dumb."
Yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, "Why?"
Like
why
it
am I
loads
doing this?
you into that like Nexus kind of like
Mhm.
thing, and you can like bring up a shooting range or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I
was
brought
like,
it up and thought I should probably just go back and play
I was
Metal
like,
Gear
this is
Solid
this
5
is a
some
bad
more.
game.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to go about it. So our next episode will be March 4th, and by that point, there's a few things coming out, but nothing too big.
Man,
We
it's
could all
still-
buy Payday 2 for the Switch and just sit in one room and play it. But
Yeah,
know.
that was gonna be one. Like, I'm glad Whisper Sharks brought that up because I was going through the eShop on Switch and like all I'm looking at are like remakes and rehashes of things I've played like years ago, and I'm just like, why? Like, give me new stuff.
and
like,
a lot of Neo Geo games you never
Yeah.
wanted to play when they first came out.
Alan just said in the chat he started Metal Gear Solid 5, so he'll see how that goes. And I said, let
Oh,
us
nice.
know.
it's a wonderful, wonderful game.
Yeah, it's one of Alex's favorites. So anyways, we do appreciate everybody in the chat and anybody listening. If you hear this, thank you very much. We'll let you know, hopefully through social media of some sort, as to what sort of games we're going to cover next time around. But thanks again for checking us out, and we will see you next time. Peace.